Hi, everybody, and welcome to P3TV. My name is Jackie Schwab, and I am the founder of the Press Play Lifestyle Signature System and a professional success coach. So today I want to provide you a little bit of insight to thinking about what you might be tolerating. So what are you doing right now that hurts all the time, but you've gotten used to kind of that dull ache, and you're just kind of living with it. So one of my business mentors, Darren Hardy, I talk about him quite a bit. He had a Darren Daily episode recently where he posed this question to his client. He said, are you silently tolerating or suffering with pain in your life or your business? And I thought, well, okay, I don't get that. Like, give me a good example. And thankfully, he's an amazing storyteller. So he told the story of these three dogs, right? So every day the man would get up and he'd walk his way into town to work, and then he'd walk home. Now, clearly this is not modern day, or it's a small town. And there'd be two dogs that would bark at him like crazy at the local farmhouse, kind of move around. And so a couple days go by and the dog's still sitting there moving around uncomfortable, and the other two dogs still barking. And at some point, the man's like, man, I've got to find out what's going on with this. Like, something might be wrong with this dog. And so he goes and knocks on the door of the farmer's house, and he says, hey, farmer, he's like, are those your dogs out there? And the farmer's like, yeah, what can I do for you about them? And he's like, well, the two bark a lot, but then like the one dog just seems to just sit there and wither in pain. And he's like, well, yeah, he is. And he said, well, what's going on? He said, well, he's sitting on a nail. And he goes, well, that's not good. Doesn't it hurt him? He said, well, apparently it doesn't hurt him enough. And so that was kind of the moral of the story, right? So think about when you're talking a little bit about, oh, hey, Ron, how's it going? Thanks for the Facebook Live props. But if you think about the terms of pain, when you go to the doctor, most people don't go in and complain about like that dull ache in their back, right? They don't complain about maybe that foot that's always kind of hurt them a little bit, or the stomach ache that they've always kind of had. And the reason for that is people get used to that pain, right? They get used to the annoyances and the things like that, and they just sort of tolerate them. But when they go into the doctor, acute pain, right? Appendicitis, or when that stomach ache becomes like a bowel obstruction. And so if you kind of think about that in terms of your business and your life, what if you stopped tolerating the dull aches in your life? What if you stopped tolerating the pain that was happening to you and really recognized that those dull aches affected you? And what if you sought out guidance, support, or help before the business pain was acute, or the marriage pain was acute, or even the real pain was acute, right? And so I have a terrible connection to that story, in that my father was the man that he was the wise one, right? We talked about a couple of weeks ago, where he'd always say, if you don't think you're sick, kid, you won't be sick. Not kid, he called me brat. You don't think you're sick, brat? You're not going to be sick. I'm like, all right, Dad, sure. Well, you might have taken that one too far. I mean, literally, my father complained of like dull, aching pain, which they said they thought was related to like sciatic pain, for like 3 years. And when it finally got so acute, hey, Cindy, thanks for joining us. Great timing. Hopefully it's helpful for you. Thanks. When it finally got so acute that he couldn't handle the pain anymore, he went to the doctor, and it was in January, early January 9th last year, and he never came home. Right? My father passed away shortly after his 63rd birthday, and he had a giant softball-sized cancer around his leg and his hip, because he didn't deal with the dull aches. He didn't go in and get help with those. He only went in when it got so bad. So what are you tolerating in your life that, just doesn't need to be tolerated anymore? If you think that this video is helpful for someone, or they may be tolerating some annoyances in their life that they certainly should consider differently, maybe share it with a friend. And join us over in Success with Balance for Career Driven Moms Facebook group. We'd love for you to come join us, and we can work through together some of those dull aches and hopefully get you out of pain. This is Jackie Schwab reminding you to embrace your pause, play the game you want to win, and prosper with a life by design, not by default. See you tomorrow, gang. Bye-bye.